Hey YouTube, Awesome Rider here. In today's video, I'm going to be giving my thoughts on all Sentai and PR Black Rangers. I've been trying to do some of these my thoughts on videos lining up with certain debuts from the show, and we recently debuted our new Black Ranger, Bun Black, so I decided it would be fun to maybe line this up. Although it is funny because usually you don't have Black Rangers debuting. They're just kind of there on the team because usually they're not any sort of special debut. So, how this list is going to work is, I'm going to kind of go through everything chronologically in terms of the main Sentai and PR Rangers, then I'm going to go over sort of any bonus Rangers or comic Rangers and stuff like that. Now, there is going to be some slight categorization stuff, as there are certain ones that I don't think of as Black Rangers that they have on the list, and then you have interesting cases like King Ranger, which is a Black Ranger and a Gold Ranger depending on the US or Japan. And I'll just say, like with all the other categorizations, I really don't care. There's of course things I think of in my head as categorizations, but if someone else thinks differently, it doesn't hurt me. I just feel like the fandom gets way too hung up on it, so yeah, it doesn't matter. Let's just start, first of all, with, this is what I find interesting about BS fan categorizations, because I'm using the wiki for this, and this is all fan rent. It's not like official or anything. So obviously there's not going to be 100% accuracy. I just use it because it makes sure that I don't forget anything, and they will often include niche ones that I may have forgotten or never seen before. But so they don't have Battle Kenya in Main Sentai Black. They have it under commonly associated with Black. What the hell even is that? And then they have Shadow Ranger here, which there's a lot of ones on this list where they just have like black pants and I'm like, that's a Black Ranger. Anyway, the thing about Battle Kenya is, I mean, first of all, I don't like it. I don't like any of the Battle Fever J suits. They creep me out. Purge Night look like a bunch of creeper, offenders on your doorstep on Purge Night. Don't like them. But what I find interesting is that they won't put him in the main Black Ranger category, but people will bend over backwards to remind you that Battle Cognac or whatever is the first Orange Ranger, even though I always forget about that because, again, I don't even think of them as Rangers in my head because they just creep me out so much. Anyway, let's get started on the actual ones here for the list. So a lot of these early ones I don't have super in-depth thoughts on because so many of these suits are the same across like the Core 5 or Core 3. Like Dino Black, he's fine. It kind of extends to my thoughts on the same suit, or Goggle Black, excuse me. It kind of extends to my main thoughts on the suits. Like, they look a little bit more dated to me. I do like the black and white contrast of the suit, and I think the patterning works. Although it does feel really weirdly heavy, like you have this big white thing here and then this white strip. Looks like it's going to collapse under the weight, but, it's fine. And at Dyna Black, these look a little bit more muscular. Again, these suits are all very similar. I do like the very distinct black-white contrast of the top and bottom and then the black boots. I think the flow of that works really well. Change Black, these are all fairly similar. Like, looking at these individually, though, something I really do appreciate that's unique about the Changeman thing is kind of the yellow highlighted helmet, and then you have, like, their individual animal on the top. It does make for a unique look. I've never been a fan of the sort of, like, training sports bra look on it, though. Then you have Mask Black. I think this is probably one of my more favorite ones, although it does have a little bit of a balding feel to it. But you got a really nice, also interesting balance of the black and white. I've always kind of been drawn to this helmet amongst the Core 5 here for these. I do find the really weird, like, white stripes on the boots to be kind of strange. Alright, then you have Live Black. I've stated before that I think that Live Man is my favorite set of pre-G Ranger team suits. This has been always one of my lesser favorites, though. I think blue is my least favorite because it looks like really bloated. But this one just looks a little bit odd in some shots, like the proportions of the helmet. Like, don't get me wrong, I still love the Live Man suits overall, but there's something about the proportions of the helmet that make it look a little bit goofy and off depending on the angle. Turbo Black, this was an interesting one because I was just doing a video about the various vehicle Sentai suits, and they all have, like, unique helmets. Like, they're weird because they all fit in together, but they also are unique, which makes them almost clash despite them being stuck together so well. But looking at them individually, you kind of are able to appreciate them more on a, well, individual level. I do find the really weird, like, barcode thing on his head to stand out, though. It looks a little bit odd. But it's a solid suit. I really do like those suits. 5 Black, generally I also like this one. I think outside of Red, this might be my second favorite one. I just like the uniqueness of the helmet because, I mean, it's not like super unique. It's kind of just this generic shape, but the way they break it up is like these almost teeth closing aspect looks really cool. And I generally really quite like these suits. Another one of my more favorite set of pre-G Rangers team suits. Jet Black. In general, I really do like the Jetman suits. Something I find interesting about them is that they all kind of blend together when you just look at them from afar. Not like you're like across the room, but when I'm just looking at them here together, they all kind of blend in and you really have to zoom in and look at them to see the individual details that make the helmets different. And I generally do quite like the Black Ranger, but I'll have to say I do kind of like the more colorful ones with the Jetman design for some reason. Alright, now we get into the PR ones that I have more in-depth thoughts on. So you have Mammoth Ranger, aka mmpr Black, my personal favorite of the core 5 suits. I've always just really liked it. It represents a lot of things. It was my first Power Rangers figure ever, one of my favorite characters with Adam, and that was like further solidified when he showed up in Once a Ranger, but I've always really dug the helmet. I always thought it was just the most unique with the tusks, and it just has a really unique look compared to the rest of them, and it's really badass. Follow that up with Ninja Black. This is probably my second favorite of the Kaku Ranger suits because you got a bit of that black gold color scheme going on. I also think it has one of the most clear designs in terms of the way the helmet is supposed to look like a ninja mask. Then you have, here we go, for debate, because I believe in Japan this is counted as a Black Ranger, which is King Ranger, but we made it a Gold Ranger because that just sounds cooler with the gold plating. I do think of it in my head as a Gold Ranger more so just because of all those years, just like MMPR White blends in with the MMPR team for me more, it fits more in my head. But this is a top tier suit. It's one of those so popular suits that you hate to like it because you don't want to feel like a basic bench. But I love this suit. It's just one of the pinnacles of a great black gold color scheme. There's a reason it's so popular. Alright, then you have Mega Black from In Space. This is probably one of my more favorite of the helmets. They stick pretty close together, but I think that the symmetry of like the rounded visor on this one works really well. Lately, I've almost been thinking it might be my favorite of the Core 5. I'm not sure. Alright, then you have Gao Black, which is interesting looking at the pictures for this video and prep. It's interesting how this helmet kind of reminds me of the way that Aubrey Blue is like a modern update on Tricera Ranger. This feels like a modern update on the Live Man suit. Like, there was something off about the helmet and the angle with this, but this one works so much better. It's like they perfected it where it doesn't look as odd. I really like the Gao Ranger helmets, period, just because it was one of the first times outside of stuff like Magna Defender that they allowed the helmet's design to kind of move past a circle or an oval, and so I always really appreciated that. Of course, you have Aubrey Black, my second favorite suit of the bunch. Good black gold color scheme, excellent design that has some of the hallmarks of the Core 3, but stand out on its own. It looks like it was made for Tommy too, like you can just feel his presence in that suit. Boken Black, my second favorite of the Core 5 suits. In general, I've always loved these suits. Like, I'm usually more of a mystical, magical animal Sentai themed guy, but for whatever reason, these suits have always been top tier. Just something about the way they are designed just really works for me with the contrast, the strip running down the middle, the symbol, the little metal plating, just great. And I've always just liked this helmet the second most next to red. Alright, then you have Go On Black, probably my second or third favorite of the core suits. In general, I think it does a good job of blending kind of a slick look for the helmet, very tech-based, but also conveying the wolf theme. Is it a wolf in Japan? We made it a wolf here, right? Regardless, I really do like the suit. I think green and black are two of my favorites amongst those. Gosei Black, I've always been a big fan of the Goseiger suits, and this is my favorite one of the bunch for sure. Again, black gold color scheme. I love the unique contrast of the white as well. Love the big gold symbol on the front, and also his helmet is my favorite. I've always loved the design of this sort of like side biting animal thing, and the snake just makes for the coolest side design and front design. Not to mention Augury's kind of the only Goseiger I really liked outside of like Gosei Knight. Kiryu Black I really do like because I think it's such a unique dinosaur we hadn't done before, and it lends itself to a unique looking helmet. It's so weird with the Kyryuger suits because I really do like them, but they always feel like they're one step away from being a huge favorite. Interesting that this one is included on the commonly associated with black and this main list, but is the Tokyo Ichigo black form. That one was really cool. In general, I do quite like the Tokyuger suits, but this was one of the best in the series. Like, it was a really cool arc. Like, Tokyuger got really quite good there in the end, but man, this was a really good-looking suit. I liked it a lot. I would love a figure out of this. Now, here's one where I don't think of this as a Black Ranger. If you do, that's fine. It doesn't matter in life. But it's Jewel the World. He just has black pants. I've never considered him to be any one color because he's such an amalgam, which is why I kind of like his character. Or not his character. Misao is kind of sad. But I like the suit. G-Ranger Black, love me some Champ, one of my favorite characters in the series. I love, in general, the more unique suits in the series. This is definitely within my top ones, having that sort of bulky wrestler look. No notes, just great. Uso Black, another great suit that's really been growing on me more as the years have gone on, just in terms of I've really appreciated the helmet. I really think it conveys the night theme in a really cool way, and kind of a Stegosaurus-esque look, really cool. The black and silver contrast also works really well. Except Inui Brother, who is actually unironically my favorite of the Core 5. Probably my second or third favorite of the series overall, but I legit love this. Like, I love that the kind of stereotypical badass Black Ranger is a chibi Sonic character. You got Hachioger, which is interesting because this was one where when I first saw the poster it stood out as maybe my top 1 or 2 favorites, and I still really do like it. I love the contrast of the silver wings, the way they incorporate the sort of bee design onto the mouth, kind of reminded me of stuff like Duo Reds, or was that Duo Eagle, whatever his name is, Reds, with the beak and stuff like that. It's still really well designed, but other ones just grew on me more, so I kind of softened on it a little bit, but I still really do like it. Of course, we have our most recent one, which overall, the BoonBoomger suits have really been growing on me. I feel like I'm still taking a little bit time to warm up to Black and Orange's helmets, as they are a little bit more odd in some ways, but I think I'll warm up to them just like the rest of the Core 3. Alright, now for the bonus content. So I don't know if I count Zenkaiser Black as a Black Ranger. I kind of saw him as a White Ranger personally, if I'm being honest with you. You have Black Puma, Roxy like a Puma, from the Go Busters vs. Go Busters special. Honestly, I really like that suit. It comes across very parody-esque, but at the same time actually looks kind of cool with the black helmet and the scarf. You also have the Dino Force Brave Black Ranger, which with those suits, there is something I like about the attempt at the white contrast, but it also feels really odd and forced the way they try to put them into other dinosaurs. Then you have VRV Master, which, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't count him, but I've always appreciated his design. Like, I don't love it, like, oh my god, it's amazing, but I don't hate it, but I've always appreciated it. Black Knight, I think I've mentioned him in another video, aka Magna Defender, where it's a suit I really like, and I feel like I should like it more, like it should be a top tier favorite, but I've always just liked it okay. Another interesting one is Hurricane Dark from the Hurricaneger 10th Anniversary Special, which is effectively just a repainted Black Ranger, or Black Ranger version of the Hurricane Red helmet, wearing basically just a gi, but it really works for me. I really like it a lot. Another one I would love a figure art for. I also wouldn't mind seeing them do a full-on Black Ranger design where they try to actually design the suit, but that was actually really cool and really simple. We go on to Power Rangers bonuses. Of course, Bat Ranger, adore the Bat Ranger. I've stated this several times, but I do personally prefer the basic designs from the main figures to the super forms, but still the super forms look great black and white contrast, which is cool. Probably my second favorite of the Spirit Rangers, just because I always found Elephant to be a little more unique, whereas that's a little more easy. Like, it's like if Batman was a Power Ranger, that's an easy target. The 1990s movie Black Ranger suit. I've always been a big fan of the movie suits. I still think they hold up, and something similar could work for the reboot. I really like this version of the helmet. I like having the coin on the front. Just always appreciated these. I also have personally always been a fan of the 2017 suits. I do find the helmet on this one to be one of the more odd ones. It looks like it's got a Vegeta receding like hairline. It's a little bit weird. And then, of course, Hyperforce Black, my personal favorite of the Core 5 Hyperforce Rangers. It's not only is it Vesper, of course, it's Vesper, but also a freaking Cerberus Ranger, that's badass. Then you have the Solar Ranger variant for the Magna Defender. I think the Solar Rangers are highly underrated. The original team, a little samey, but the second wave with the Beyond the Grid team was really cool. The way it was kind of this mix of the Solar Rangers design and their connection to their previous powers made for some really unique designs. Omega Black, adore the Omega suits. I understand the complaints and don't entirely disagree that they're all a little too similar, but in general I like the Omega suits, plus you get that classic black-gold color scheme. Time Force Black, really cool suit. I love the character, super underrated comic. I love the concept, it's a really cool design. If we ever pick up the Lightning Collection again, I would really love to be able to get back to that. We also have our exclusive Black Ranger from the Squadron Rangers, which I really like because I'm a big fan of the Die Ranger suits overall, but getting to see our own original Black Ranger one that feels very reminiscent of the Red Ranger's helmet, which is my favorite, is really cool. Then of course we have our recent Cosmic Fury Black Ranger, which is one of my favorite of the Cosmic Fury suits, mainly because like the weapon in general is pretty cool, but also his arm is a cool character beat, but also I think adds to the suit and creates further cool contrast. Some other bonus stuff is you have the mmpr pink version of the Black Ranger suit from the mmpr pink comic, which I've actually always been a big fan of. It has a hoodie. I've always been a big fan of hoodie suits with Rangers and superheroes, but also the pink contrast is a really interesting choice. Draken Evolution 3, which is my favorite version of the Draken suit because, I mean, love the Draken suit. It's in my second favorite color scheme, black gold. You got a cape. I know they say no capes, but it's working. Not to mention, I love the fact that the pinnacle of evolution of Tommy, good and evil, is both a black gold suit, as this is pinnacle evil Tommy, black gold, good Tommy, pinnacle, black gold, Dino Thunder. Although originally I heard it was supposed to just be white gold like usual, and someone suggested making it black gold. Whoever that was, good job. Ninja Turtle Black Ranger, I really do like the designs of the Ninja Turtle Rangers. At first I was kind of like, I don't know, like lukewarm on them, but over time I've really grown to like them quite a bit. I think they're pretty well designed. Also have the comic Dark Ranger, which was basically Babu. I love these designs. They're not very traditional Rangerly, but I really love them. I think it was such a cool idea for a different version of the Dark Rangers. Obviously the original ones were probably the second creepiest ones next to Battle Fever J. No, first creepiest. Let's be fair. I did notice though when I was looking at pictures for this that I forgot that the old school comics actually did different helmets for that, which was kind of interesting, and I kind of dug those. And then you also have the most recent Draken Rangers, Draken Black, which is a really cool spin on the Mastodon suit. Really takes a lot of what I like about that helmet being unique and makes it its own. Not to mention the Scorpina arm is a cool touch, and also very much so reminds me of the Cosmic Fury Black. So you have stuff like the Ranger Sentry. Always been a big fan of that concept. The Ranger Sentry, Mastodon Sentries are pretty cool. Now, just as a bonus, I'm not going to go over all of these, but there was a handful of different variants shown in the Forever Black comic. And just to highlight a couple of my favorites, it's not really a cool design, but it was cool that they did have a variant of Zack if he was in the Season 3 Ninja stuff. The inverse negative one, where it's basically a White Ranger, is pretty cool. Obviously, it's not really a Black Ranger anymore, but I thought that was a cool inverse. And also, the Mecha one and the Medieval one are really cool. But that is just my thoughts on the Black Rangers. If I forgot anything or I screwed up a categorization, let's remember, this is just meant to be for fun. But let me know your favorite Black Ranger suits in the comments. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.